Jesus healed the sick. He fed the hungry. He taught. So all these things were part and parcel. Now, if somebody is sitting in the congregation and he's got hunger pangs, he's not going to listen to the message. He needs to satisfy that hunger.
In the house of God, people should not lack good medical facility to go to. They should not be hungry, because there is no good telling somebody God bless you when they are hungry. They should not sleep on the street. If we have our own homes, we eat and we have insurance, then they should as well.
The church saw it fit to create a fund that has been running at least 20 years, and many young people, and there's no strings attached. But there have been widows who have been supported here. There have been people who have been edified and encouraged here. People going through difficult health challenges. When we talk about family, it's not just with lip service, and it's not all about money. There are wealthy people who have gone through difficult times and have just had support of the care of people.
I believe that loving one another is a very critical component in seeing how this truly is going to drive. And in the midst of love, everything happens. Revival is birthed in a place of love, not in a place of strife or bitterness or hate for one another.
Kelly is always looking for ways to help. Now there was the health insurance recently. Health insurance for how many people? That is massive. That's something even the government hasn't done for everybody, and the church is taking that on to do for less privileged people. So yeah, that's how you strengthen the family.
There's nobody who wanted to register, who was not registered. They all have their cards. They can access the Ilera Eco healthcare as of now. So that's done. As many as are coming, we'll continue to register them. Then the next phase is to move to food and shelter for those who lack it.
The benevolence team, we went into Obalende, fed people every week. But there comes a point in time when you have to realize that it's better to teach them how to catch fish than to give them fish every time they're hungry.
GLA loan scheme that we did for the 30th anniversary. I remember when we first wanted to do that, I was quite disheartened. We thought, let's try and help 30 families to mark 30 years with 100,000 naira each. Let's raise 3 million. At the time, it was a lot of money. And then I took it to the anniversary team. I wasn't on that team, but they were struggling to raise money. So I was a bit discouraged. So I said, okay, let me talk to maybe 10 people I know. Let me try and do 30,000 for 10 people. And then I spoke to 3 people. 2 weeks later, the head of the committee, who's now my deacon, Gikumbadijo, dragged me into the meeting and said, we need to talk about this grand scheme you're talking about, because everybody we're talking to said that's what they're giving their money to. So I had only spoken to 3 people in this church, but it had spread like wildfire.
Empowerment that is now led by Sholakwe Hammond, excellent lady. And we raised money. We raised 30 million. Thank God for the good people that supported. And we spent 6 months. We trained those people. We taught them bookkeeping, basic managing of business and all that. And we gave them money for their businesses. We looked at their businesses, the feasibility studies they did, and we look at it. We assign mentors to them from the church who will guide their business, and we funded them.
Community is essential. That sense of not being alone, that sense of not being shamed for anything, that sense of not being loved or cared about. These things, they're also important, that we ensure that people feel God's love, that we ensure that people know that they're welcome, that we ensure that people know that that there's room for them, right? And so that aspect of community is so important. And so when we say family of families, the next thing isn't just that we say it, is how do we live it? What do families look like? What room is there for people to engage honestly And what often gives people the leverage to be able to engage honestly in family is that they've cultivated relationship, which means you also have to be devoted to actually cultivating relationship.
I remember there was a time where this, the auditorium was being dedicated to other churches who didn't have other pastors who didn't have their own church, and for them to use as training. And I know that speaks to the leadership school that we intend to establish as a church. And so the mission has really not just been, let's make this house big and make it bigger. No one seems to be really interested in that. It's how can we take Christ out into the world and make that impact bigger. You can also see that with the discipleship courses that we run in GLA. A significant number of the people are increasingly not GLA members, but they're people who can then take that mission outwards. So I really see that as the calling of the church. It's great to have more and more people come in so that you can touch their lives directly. But what's really important, and what I think we tend to, the mission maybe we have from God, is to prepare other people out there to take his kingdom out there. I would love to see much more of a mission and movement being done within Parkview. I think when we went to Obalende, we left our immediate environment as well, and I think Parkview and the rest of Ikoyi perhaps. But again, as we've seen, things unfold in God's good time here, so waiting patiently for when that will happen.